Hey everyone, welcome to Nerds Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Chris.
And I'm James.
And today we're doing episode 5 of our Star Wars review series. We're reviewing the full Star Wars Saga, every single movie in chronological order, and we'll be ending off right when the last movie, episode 9, airs for the Rise of Skywalker in December. If you haven't seen any of our previous videos, I'll post some links up where you can click the thumbnails and watch some of the previous reviews on the other movies. Today we are highlighting Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and that fits right between the solo Star Wars story and episode 4. So before we get started, I'm just going to read that today we are sponsored by Casamade, a great Canadian company. They're the ones who have graciously provided us with these awesome Star Wars insignia mugs. They do a whole bunch of different things. So Casamade, they're a Canadian company that personalizes in custom vinyl creations. From our casa to your casa, their products are custom designed to meet your style and personality. Visit facebook.com/Casamade, that's facebook.com/CAZAMADE. Whether you're looking for something unique for yourself or a gift for someone else, Casamade has something for everyone. All right, so if this is your first time and you're decided to start right here, we're going to go through and give our quick overview, non-spoilery, whether we liked or didn't like the movie. Then we're going to jump into a full plot synopsis, go into exactly all the details and the spoilers of the movie, and then at the end we'll kind of rank the movies as we see fit, with any of our opinions along the way. So with that, I guess James or Chris, who wants to go first?
All right. This was the first one that was released that wasn't like the official episode numbered, so it was something different, which I was looking forward to. Kind of like a backstory to get the in-betweens of all the episodes. So I went into it looking forward to it. I was very happy with the story. There's a bit of comedy, so I had a good mix of everything, action, and I feel like this really, these kind of backstories add to the whole universe where you can see, oh, this is how this plan or whatever took place and went to fruition. So I really enjoyed it, and the graphics were great and stuff like that. But we'll get into that later. But I enjoyed the movie.
Okay. And James, yourself?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Again, it being the first one that was kind of not an episode and it's kind of new, and these are all characters that you didn't know about, so it was interesting to see how they would take it and where it would go from there, right? Like you kind of knew what would happen in the end, but considering the journey, it was quite a journey to have, and it was nice. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and definitely a good one.
Yep, I agree. I enjoyed the movie. I went in with all the kind of news media at the time. They were saying, this is not going to have Jedi. This is not about Force powers or lightsabers. It's a story about how they got the Death Star plans. And so going in, you kind of, I had to set my mindset because, it's not going to have the things that draws me most to Star Wars, but it is Star Wars. So I had to go in with that expectation, and I was completely entertained the whole movie. The characters, great job. The new characters that were introduced. And I was definitely excited because what I wanted from Disney was for them to create more Star Wars movies and stories that didn't really connect. And so while this technically does connect, it is brand new cast of characters. It is separated.
You could watch it as a standalone.
Correct. And that's what I'm looking for. I want the writers and the developers, directors to come in and do something new, because Star Wars is such a huge galaxy wide of things that they can talk about, and so many new things they can introduce that doesn't need to crisscross, and then you don't have to worry about continuity and does this negate something that happened in a previous movie. So but yeah, I went in, I was they did everything I wanted them to do. They took some risks, they introduced some new characters, and overall enjoyed the story.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. All right, so let's jump right in. We'll go through the plot here, and at any time, guys, just interrupt, jump in, let me know if you want to discuss anything specific. So, okay, so we start off on a planet where we have this research scientist named Galen Erso and his family are hiding on a planet Lamu. When Imperial weapons developer Orson Krennic arrives in this particular ship, he presses him into completing the Death Star, a space station-based superweapon capable of destroying entire planets. Galen's wife, Lyra, is killed in a confrontation while their daughter, Jyn, escapes and is rescued by rebel extremist Saw Gerrera. So this opening scene was pretty cool.
Yes.
We got the introduction of the Death Troopers. Who definitely look menacing.
Yes.
Definitely shot to kill and didn't miss their shots. I liked it. I liked the again, it started with no music, no intro, just boom, movies on. We're on a planet, let's go. And we kind of like, okay, who are these characters? Who's his family? And then we just see this menacing empire just marching towards them. And it's like, oh, something's gonna go down, and it was really cold.
Yeah.
Like basically, we need you. You're coming. No questions asked. The wife tried to get in the way. She got killed, shot down.
He was like, oh, they both died.
Oh yeah,
it's just me.
Yeah.
I don't remember much. I'm no use to. He's trying to get out of it so that he can stay. And they're like, you can either come with us or we're gonna drag you with us. And then his wife comes in and kind of ruins the plan. But
they kill her, and then and she tells Jin to go hide. And so I guess there's like they always expected something like this to possibly happen because he had previous dealings with the Empire. Right. And so she's like, go hide. And she goes hides in the cave, and the Death Troopers were sent off to go find the daughter, and they're all looking for her. And it's like intense. She's in the rock. You can see their feet, and it was well done. I like the opening. It definitely set the mood for this type of movie.
Definitely.
All right, so then we jump ahead. 13 years later, cargo pilot Bodhi Rook, this is jumping really ahead, defects from the Empire, taking a holographic message recorded by Galen to Guerrera on the desert moon Jeddah. After learning about the Death Star from an agent at the trading outpost ring of Kafrene, Rebel Alliance intelligence officer Cassian Andor frees Jin from an Imperial labor camp at Wabani before bringing her to the Rebel leader Mon Mothma, who convinces her to find and rescue Galen so the Alliance can learn more about the Death Star. Cassian is covertly ordered to kill Galen rather than extract him. So, in the beginning, once we jump 13 years ahead, we kind of get the scene of Cassian. We get introduced to him, and there's a rebel spy that is kind of stuck and needs help, and Cassian's come to collect the information from him, and something you don't really see from the rebels, brutally kills him in order to, because he knows he's injured, he's going to get captured by the Empire, and instead of hoping that he's going to be able to keep his mouth shut, decides to just kill him and escape. Pretty cold.
It's definitely different in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And, it was nice to see that in reality, that's what probably would happen.
In war, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you see the good guys are good, but they also have to cross that line sometimes and straddle that line, the gray area, and say, to protect the greater good, I need to do these actions, which is kind of what the Empire is doing as well, that they think is the greater good. They're doing the actions that they need. So there's kind of that gray area for both sides that they show in this movie.
Yeah. There was a fun introduction while he was tasked to go basically rescue Jyn Erso, and as they attack I guess it's like a prison encampment, a caravan or whatnot, they're all being transferred, and they attack the thing, they open it up, and as she runs to escape free, she runs free. Boom, K2SO just clotheslines her, just takes her out, and he's like, we're here to rescue you, after knocking her out cold. I thought that was a great introduction to this new droid.
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk, great job.
Yes, Alan.
Very funny.
Different from C-3PO, but you can see that it's that kind of, you're a droid, sarcastic humor, but like not understanding if you're being sarcastic. Like it's really well done.
Really, it's like so serious.
Droid, yeah.
So that was great. Yeah. Funny moments. And before I get to the next part where they travel to Jeddah, so Jin's brought before Mon Mothma, and they're talking about finding her father essentially, and the fact that she has connections to Saw Gerrera, and Saw Gerrera has kind of what they would say kind of gone crazy. He's kind of gone off on his own, not really following Rebel protocol and doing his own thing, and so they're not sure if they can trust him. Yeah. But he has a strong connection to Jyn, so if they can use her relationship to contact Saw, and then Saw should know where her father is to kind of get the information that they need. So she's kind of at first not wanting to do it, but they kind of convince her to.
Yeah, well, we find out later that she doesn't have the best feeling for him because he kind of left her.
Correct.
To dead or whatever, be captured and such. But
yeah, so Jyn, Cassian, and the reprogrammed Imperial droid K2SO travel to Jeddah, where the Empire is removing kyber crystals from the Holy City to power the Death Star, while Guerrera and his partisans are engaged in an armed insurgency against them. So we know that the Empire is definitely trying to take strong control over Jeddah, and this is where Saw Gerrera and his kind of headquarters are, trying to form a resistance, if you will, a rebel uprising against the Empire. And we see this great kind of fight scene, felt very reminiscent of like a war, where the people who are just living there in the city and their soldiers marching down, and then just war ensues right in front of people are getting killed.
Yeah, civilians, everything. Yeah. That even that battle scene was great to see. The rebels just come out, ambush it, and have that plan, and then Cassian and Jane are on their own trying to stay away, but caught in the middle kind of thing
Yep.
as well, and trying to protect the innocent as well.
That's right. And
So
then
it's
with
great
the
to see.
with the aid of the blind spiritual warrior
Yes.
Chirrut Imwe and his mercenary friend Baze Malbus, or his protector, guardian, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
Jin makes contact with Guerrera, who has been holding Rook, which is Bodhi, the defector from the Empire, captive. Guerrera shows her the message, a message that he basically was sent by her father, in which Gillen reveals he has secretly built in a vulnerability into the Death Star and directs them to retrieve the schematics from an Imperial databank on the planet Scarif. So, again, jump through a lot here. So they're basically making their way to find Baze. They kind of get, I guess you could say, captured in the sense that Chirrut and Baze and Cassidy all end up in like a prison where they were right next to Bodhi, right? After Bodhi's been crazily tortured by Saw, this crazy octopus beast or something that reads minds or something.
Yeah. It seemed really interesting, different kind of creature, but it's like I'll be able to tell if you're telling the truth by
extremist ways of getting what we would call nowadays like terrorist activity, and that's what the rebels suspected, that he's more of a terrorist than like a rebel.
He was really over that gray line.
Yes,
they kind of straddle it. He's over that and saying, "I'll do any means necessary to do what I believe is right."
That's right.
Maybe he thought that the rebels weren't doing enough, and that's why, right? Like that's like how differently he's maybe different perspective that he had, and that's why he branched off in the first place.
Yeah.
So
well, off topic, but the show Rebels kind of has some background on that as well, where he says, "You guys aren't doing enough. You guys are playing by their rules, but you're playing by rules that no one else is playing by."
That's right.
The rules of engagement don't exist for the Empire, so why shouldn't he be equal to them to counter them?
Absolutely.
So that was kind of a background if you guys want to watch Rebels.
Yep. And you get a lot of not a lot, but you get some politics in like the interworkings of the new Empire now, because this is the first thing since episode 3 where you kind of get to see the Empire is fully formed, but it's still the early stages. Palpatine's emperor now, what's going on, how is the internal conflict of people trying to rise and trying to be better leaders. So you kind of get that with Krennic, and his whole job is to oversee this Death Star, and he wants to move up to become he's an admiral, right? He's director Krennic, and then Admiral Thrawn, right, who becomes Grand Moff eventually. So he wants to rise up, and so he then, on the Death Star, Krennic orders a low-powered test shot, which destroys Jedha's capital, which is where Jin and her group are currently residing. They all, after seeing this explosion, narrowly escape. They all run off. Saw says he's going to stay behind. It's his time to die, whatever. Yeah. So Jin,
he's in rough shape as well.
Yeah, he's like a makeshift Vader with a breathing apparatus and like a fake leg, and he's in all there. So they all flee on a ship. Basically their plan is to go off to Rebel headquarters at this point. So they got Jin, they got Chirrut and Baze. They all jump on the ship and they head off. In the meantime, we have Grand Moff Tarkin congratulates Krennic before using Rook's defection and security leak as a pretext to take control over his project. So basically, you had a leak and it's your fault you couldn't find it. So because of this insolence, this is now my project. I'm going to take credit for it, and I'm going to go tell the Emperor and stuff like this is my accomplishment. And so of course director Krennic freaks out, is upset, and says, I did this for years. I'm the one who got everything set up. I got Galen, I got the scientists together, we stole them, we did it, it was all because of me. So they have this huge little spat there, and then he basically leaves to go confront Vader at a point. So we know that's how it's left. So Tarkin is taken over as head of the project. Director Krennic decides to leave and go confront Vader about what had happened. In the meantime, we have Rook, Bodhi Rook leads the group to Galen's Imperial Research Facility on the planet Edau. So what happens is so they go to the planet Edau, where Cassian chooses not to kill Galen. So there's this huge thing. So Cassian's been told, when you get there, if you see a clear shot, kill Galen because he's betrayed us. Whereas Jin is still very optimistic, even before a message like, my father wouldn't do this, my father wouldn't do this. She gets the message, and her being the only one that's seen the message, because Cassian and everyone was in jail, she's saying, no, like, the message said that, like, he did this, there's a vulnerability, we have a way to win, he's actually on our side. And they're like, okay, where's the message? And she's like, oh, it's gone, I got destroyed, like, I don't have it. So it's basically her word.
Her word against everyone.
So while they're there, Cassian decides to go take Bodhi out to go see, scout ahead and see what's going on, and takes like a sniper attachment to his rifle and
Yeah.
decides to go out there.
K2 gave away.
Yeah.
He did have his...
And they have some words with Chirrut and Baze. They talk a little bit about the Force. They talk a little bit about just different things and how he feels that there is some evil aura or dark aura around Cassian. Like something's gonna happen. Like he's gonna the same thing that's around someone that's about to kill. There's something wrong going on. So Jyn realizes something's not right. She gets out and decides to chase them. And Chirrut, of course, says, "Okay, I'm gonna go help." And since you have to protect me, you gotta come too. So they all go head out there. We see Krennic. Oh, sorry, I skipped by this part. Sorry, 1 second here. Okay, so Krennic is basically confronting Galen and all the scientists and questioning who betrayed him, who leaked the stuff, and since no one can step forward, he's going to kill all the scientists. And as the Death Troopers kind of put up their guns, Galen comes out and confesses, "No, it was me, I did it. They had no part in this."
Yeah.
All the while they're being confrontational, Cassian can't get a clear shot. He can see him, but Krennic is in the way, and different people are in the way, and so he can't get a clear shot. And so I can't remember who orders the bombers to come. Was it Cassian?
No, so the rebel leader, the
Wasn't
general.
Mothma, though, was
No, it was
It was
the
the one, yeah,
male
yeah.
general that ordered Cassian to.
Correct. So
to do
but
the
he's
hit.
there. So he's calling like, "Okay, we're on the bridge. Blah blah blah." He's giving them some intel,
So
right?
they lost communication before that.
That's
Because
right.
they went down on the planet there, right?
Yes.
So that's why they didn't have anything to say that they thought that they lost them. So like, okay, well, as that,
Oh, okay, we're just sending
we're just
them in.
gonna we're just gonna get rid of them there, and
Send the
that'll be the end of
bombers
that.
in.
Yeah.
That's right.
Clear
So
everything.
Yeah.
So where is it here? Cassian chooses not to kill Galen. Jyn makes her presence known moments before rebel bombers attack the facility. Galen is mortally wounded by the bombers and basically dies in Jyn's arms. So they kind of get one last dialogue there.
Yeah.
Before she escapes with her group on board a stolen Imperial cargo shuttle because their ship was heavily damaged. So Krennic is summoned by Darth Vader. So this is where he goes and meets Darth Vader to answer for the attack on Edu. And Krennic seeks his support for an audience with the Emperor because Tarkin is basically taking control of his project. And Vader instead orders him to ensure no further breaches occur. In not so many words, but
Yeah.
don't choke on your aspirations.
Yeah.
Oh man, great moment. I did not
Yes.
expect to see Vader in this, and when he
No.
popped up, and it was like, I'm gonna go seek audience with him. Like you hear talks of him. There's Vader there, just like the Emperor's there, but you don't only see him because we're in this part of the military. We're not at the top yet. And the fact that he goes off, and we're like, ooh, we're going to Vader's castle, we're going to Mustafar.
So you get to see it.
Yep.
Where he's gone from episode 3 to where it is now, and you see how.
And when he
built
comes out,
everything.
and you hear the breathing, and you see the fear, and you're like, wow, this is Darth Vader as I remember him way back in the day. And he comes out, and they're having this audience, and then boom, he starts to choke him, and you're like, whoa, like this, like you've seen this before, but it still feels fresh and new.
Yeah.
And it's just like so calm and just don't choke on your aspirations. Oh man, what a line!
So good.
So good.
And it was great to see, him coming out of his chamber.
Yes.
He's still kind of young and fresh, and like that hunger of him to be proven as the new, Darth, Supreme one.
Yeah.
Kind of. So he's a new Darth, and you definitely tell he's just turns, does the full, like he doesn't even move, and
No.
you just see.
You
kinda
just
start
see his hand
choking.
come
Yeah.
down and just great
Very
job.
well done. Very well
I
done.
thought the line was a little cheesy though.
Yeah? I mean,
Don't
it
choke
is
on your
cheesy
ass.
from, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I thought it was like instead of just choking him, like to say something, like it was. Okay, I can see that the actual word choices were cheesy, but I thought it was a cool idea for him to say something while choking him.
Yeah, no, it's the words that he said.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's fine.
I could have said something a little
I
different.
enjoyed
but
it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it though. I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
Well, I
Just
thought the
like,
one with the choking is just the words are a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they had the thing
That's
there. Then he marches away, and he's all, Krennic's like, oh my gosh, like he has no idea what the Force is. Like he hasn't seen this kind of stuff before.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm like, okay, well, that's it, Darth Vader. That was a cool moment.
Yeah.
So we kind of move forward. So back at the Rebel headquarters, Jyn proposes a plan to steal the Death Star schematics. After speaking with her father face to face and gets all the final confirmation, she comes back and she explains everything that's kind of going down. And
She's trying to kind of rally the team.
yes,
And be like,
so she's like, let's use the Rebel fleet, but fails to get approval from the Alliance Council. And it's sad because she has this, this speech which I thought was pretty moving. With like we're rebels, we're here, we're supposed to stand up, we're supposed to take a stance, we're supposed to do something. Yeah, it's it's gonna be tough, whatever, but that's the whole point. Like it's about doing what's right. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It's kind of like a Princess Leia type moment where it's like kind of get the forces together, do a pep talk, and like.
And you expect like everyone to be like, yes, let's do it, and then everyone's like, no. 4 of the 5 leaders or whatever are like, no, we're not going to do it. Doesn't sound like a good idea. Suicide mission, blah blah blah. So,
but again, I think that speaks to probably the reality of probably what would have happened in that kind of situation.
That's right.
I don't think they would have been like, oh yeah, let's go for it because of your speech.
Yeah, and after seeing the power, because the Jedi blew up, they're like, wow, they basically feel like, yeah, there's no way we can win against the Empire. Yeah. Maybe we should kind of spread out and hide and figure something else out, and they're not sure what to do. Yeah. So frustrated at their inaction, Jin's group lead a small squad of rebel volunteers to raid the databank themselves. So we got a bunch of people who signed up and said, I'll join you, screw them, we're going to go do it true rebel fashion, right?
So I actually love that part. She walks out, they can all tell her she's mad, even the blind guy is like, oh, that didn't go so well. And then he's talking with her, and he's like, well, they'll help you. And it pans over, and there's a group of fighters led by Cassian who have all volunteered to help. Some of them heard what she said, some heard through word of mouth. And then in the overhead speaker, that's a little Easter egg.
Yes, there is. So for those who have watched Star Wars Rebels, you can hear over the overhead where they say Captain Syndulla to the hangar, blah blah blah, and that's basically Hera Syndulla, one of the main characters from Rebels. We also see the Ghost in multiple shots in this movie, as well as Chopper is seen on the Rebel base driving
similar
by.
to this part where we're at right now.
That's right. We also get a cameo of C-3PO and R2-D2 at the base as well, where I think he has a quick dialogue, one line or something like that.
One line,
yeah. So that's cute little nods to, again, the whole universe kind of coming together, the shows, everything coming together. Really well done. Before we get to the actual like big mission here, what do you guys think so far about how they set up Gillian Merrick personally and intentionally setting up this weakness in the Death Star? At this point we've already seen episode 4, and I know we haven't reviewed it yet, but what did you think of like how they've kind of fixed that, as that used to be a big overhanging issue, like why would they make this big powerful thing with such a weakness, and the way that they wrote this in? What are your thoughts?
It was a good cover because they did get a lot of kickback from that and feedback where it's like, yeah, if they did it, this whole schematics, they would make sure that they check everything. But knowing that it was kind of an inside job from someone who was forced to do these actions against his will.
And again, the people who are testing the weapon aren't engineers. They don't know.
Exactly.
He's the one who said, we're going to do this.
And he was
he oversee it. He was able to hide whatever he needed to hide. And then said, okay, it works. And they tested and it works. And there's no questions asked. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Well written, right?
It cleans up. So I found that it kind of adds to episode 4.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of cleans up any questions that, might have been brought up. They're like, well, we'll be proactive and say this is this and lay the groundwork.
Yep.
It just reminded me of How I Met Your Mother, actually. So there's an episode there where the lead character, Ted, who's an architect, he's like, oh, the design was a flaw. Oh, it's probably the architects who did it.
That's good.
So always the architect's fault.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was a good time.
But yeah, I thought it was very well done and kind of tied it all together nicely. Yes. And it's not that huge.
You could have made the whole
question mark
bigger.
He didn't want to make it so big. Didn't want to make it too obvious. Why is there a mile wide hole here? Oh, it's for ventilation.
Yeah. In case you want a sunroof.
Yeah. So
for those hot days.
That's it. So so she gets a group of volunteers to raid the databank themselves, and so they head off. And obviously they're like, "Hey, where are you going? You're taking the ship." And so boom.
Yeah. What's your code name?
Yeah, he's like Rogue One. That's it, man. And then we get all like the red leaders, red 1, red 2, and now it's going forward. Rebels. You have gold leaders and red leaders, and you're all it's your name and then your number, and it all works out. It's pretty cool. So arriving at Scarif on the stolen Imperial ship, which Rook dubs Rogue One, a disguised Jin and Cassian enter the base with K2SO. So they formulate a plan. Okay, this plan is heavily fortified. There's the big tower, spire, databank essentially in the middle that's going to be heavily fortified. So we're going to land here. We've got to sneak in. So they have, they basically distract a couple guards to come on ship, because obviously as someone lands, they're going to come and check your ship out, knock them out, steal their outfit. So Jin is going dressed up as a pilot, and Cassian as an Imperial officer, I guess you could say, right? And so they head off, and K2SO, being an Imperial droid, just blends right in. It's like, okay, it's normal thing. It's great. And then the other rebels decide to hide out in the ship, and their plan is to decide to set up a diversion, when they're ready.
Detonators and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
To make as much explosions, as much bombs, to make them think that there's a massive army out there to distract everyone from what they're doing. Very, very smart. Okay, so the other rebels are set to attack the Imperial garrison as a diversion. The rebel fleet learns of the raid, so the rest of the rebels realize what they had done, and from an intercepted Imperial communications and deploy in support. So they decide, okay, you know what? They're already there. They're already on foot. They're making, they're already making waves. Let's go and support them and see if we can make this a success. So they send the rest of their fleet essentially all the way over there, led by we've got Akbar and I can't remember Admiral Radis.
Yes.
Is the other one. Yeah. So they kind of head down there. K2SO sacrifice. Okay, so K2SO and Jin and Cassian, they have a lot of funny dialogue, and I didn't get through anything specific. We can talk about that afterwards, but they kind of get in there, and there's a moment where they're kind of ticking over an area, shutting the doors to basically get access to find out what the data is. Very reminiscent of Han Solo and Luke and stuff in Episode 4, where they kind of put on the stormtrooper outfits, get in, and like everything, the weapons malfunction,
okay,
everything's
10-4.
good time. Yeah, the same kind of funny.
Have a good day. How's everything with you?
No, great time. So they kind of did that. I thought that was a cute little nod there, even though it was different in the sense of like, it wasn't like some crazy communication, but it was pretty cool how they did that. So he sacrifices himself so Jin and Cassian can retrieve the data. He basically takes on, gets a gun for the first time. Jin gives him a gun. He's so happy. He's like, yes. And so he starts killing people. And wow, what a great shot. He's like looking down, just picking guys off. Yeah. He gets destroyed. Poor K2SO. Wasn't happy to see him go, but he died. So they head off to go get the data. At this point, Krennic realizes kind of what's going on, realizes that this is a diversion, and then realizes that someone's accessing the data records and decides to go, I'm going to go handle this myself. So he takes a couple of guys with him and goes down. And so Cassian and Jin, while going through the records, realize that one of them is named after, is in a code word. I can't remember the code word. Do you?
Stardust?
Something like that, which is something that her father called her. So it's the code name. She's like, oh wait, that's something my father called me. It's got to be that. So they go get the drive, and then Krennic and Troopers show up. So they jump on, and they're trying to climb this data bank and trying to dodge Krennic and the Troopers, kind of fighting their way up to the top. And Cassian gets shot and falls, presumed dead. And Jin kind of makes it up to the top. Who basically has to, and the reason why she's doing this is they've kind of closed. There's this huge shield over the planet to keep people from getting in and out. And so communications can't get through, so they need to find a way to open the shield in order to get the communications out. So while she's going up to the top of the satellite to beam the records out, the fleet up there have to find a way to destroy the shield. Yeah. So that's what's going on.
And the team down below is also trying to destroy the shield, deactivate it from the ground.
Correct, and to help boost. Yeah, because he was like plugging into something to boost or whatever, right? Because she was going to go align the satellite. And then send information, and then I think it was Bodhi and stuff. They were gonna boost the signal up through, or however it was.
And I thought it was awesome that they had the massive battle up in the the stars, and then you got the massive battle down there, and there's just
Return of the Jedi. You get to see the different.
Loved it.
I love it. Very espionage, very like planned and very coordinated. It was really cool. Mm-hmm. So where are we here?
I also like that the choice of planet that they did. It was a tropical planet.
Yes, and change it up.
Yeah, it wasn't like a Hoth. Like it was cold ice planet,
like all one color, like all white or all red, or like the salt planet in
sand,
vibrant.
Trees,
you get color, you get pop. It's definitely different.
It looks like a nice place.
Yep. Yeah.
Next Star Wars land will be
you get the new ATCs or something like that. The ones that
aren't very.
They're more.
Yes, AT.
Yeah. That are made for the tropical. They're more cargo based or whatever, something like that. But we got those there. I love seeing those again. Because we've only ever seen them at this point at Hoth. So when you got to see them, like, whoa, these things are like, and the scale of them, and then, they don't have snow speeders to trip them. So I was like, how are we going to take them down? I thought it was cool. We had Chirrut with this crazy bow that's not really a bowcaster, but like, almost like a bow and arrow contraption, crossbow, that shoots this massive, powerful dart. Amazing. Yeah. Really cool concept. Yeah. It's not fast, but it's powerful. You got to aim true, and he's blind and using the force. Boom.
It's beautiful. I thought he was a great character as well, but we'll get into that later. Yeah. But they had a nice variety of characters.
So, boom, the war is happening. So Cassian's presumed dead. K2SO is presumed dead. Meanwhile, on the battle, they're fighting. Imwe is a lot of them are trying to basically get this something plugged in, again, all part of the communications array, and there's a switch they got to pull. Well, at this point, the Death Troopers are there, and they are taking out every last rebel.
Down.
So there's like 4 or 5 of them left. You got Baze, you got Chirrut, you have Bodhi, you have a couple other guys, and so Imwe is so Bodhi gets killed by a grenade. right? When informing the rebel fleet that it must deactivate the shield. Like that was his job. Let the rebels know that we can't send a message until the shield's deactivated. So his whole purpose was to get the message through. So they had to go pull the switch in order to get that to turn on. Yeah. So it basically goes out as 2 or 3 other soldiers die trying to get to it. And, again, fully using the Force. He's there, Force is with me, I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me. And he's walking out there and bullets are missing him and he's not getting hit. Almost as if he's got some crazy force field or whatever going on. He makes it there completely blind. He pulls the switch and then he ends up getting killed. He ends up getting taken out. And then he's taken out. And of course, Baze, being his guardian, his protector, freaks out. No, starts killing. I think he kills 3 or 4 Death Troopers before him getting taken out.
And then he keeps on going.
Oh, he keeps going. He's just mad. Yeah. And he has Imwe, and then doesn't he say something? They have one last dialogue or something.
Like his arms? With the Force, something like
that. And he's like, and then he starts saying, "I'm one with the Force. Force is with me." And he starts taking on the mantra and starts taking out the guys. So they both die. Rook is killed by a grenade after informing the rebel fleet after getting the message through that they got to destroy the shield. Jin and Cassian obtain the schematics. I talked about this. They are ambushed. Cassian falls down. Jin makes it to the top. She's about to transmit the schematics, trying to realign the satellite, but then a TIE fighter comes up, blows the bridge. She almost dies, and then Krennic shows up and is basically point blank gonna kill her. Yeah. And then surprise, surprise, Cassian ends up surviving and takes him out.
I love that scene where it's like, close up,
so close.
You hear the shot,
so close,
and then both faces are like, they could be shot, and then you're like, who got shot? We always know who it is, but they try and make that dramatic. The kind of shot is two bodies go kind of surprise, and then one drops.
So before we say that the transmission goes through, we have this scene of they're struggling to get the shield down. Nothing's working. Proton torpedoes, missiles, whatever they're trying is not working. So then they finally decide to ram using their hammerhead, their Corvette, just basically to ram one of the Star Destroyers, which was disabled, if I remember correctly, to ram it into another Star Destroyer because that was, destroying their fleet. And then that, essentially that, chain reaction coming down right into the shield generator just blew it up. What a great, smart way of doing it. Like, just something not the one pilot that makes it in and does it. No. It's just like, you know what? Yeah. We're not going to do this. Let's just one last ditch effort. Bang. And it worked. And it was really cool. I really like the scale of that. Yeah. We're not going to make it. Let's just try this out. Boom. And it worked. They do it just in time as Jin is now, sending the message. She gets the message through, gets beamed up to what we know now as Tantive 4, basically the Leia's Corellian Corvette, what you see in the beginning of episode 4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the Death Star enters orbit above Scarif, and where Tarkin uses another low-power shot to destroy the compromised base, killing Krennic, Cassian, and Jin. So basically he comes in and goes, everyone ready, let's go. So he's basically decides to destroy the planet below. Jin and Cassian kind of somehow make it from the top of the tower all the way down to the beach in this span of time, and kind of look out over the sunset as they see like their demise. And they have
that was a neat little scene as well, like an atomic, almost like an A-bomb coming out.
It's like
just
things over
the sunrise. Yeah,
that's it. It was beautifully shot. Beautifully shot again. An end. Did you guys think any of the soldiers were going to make it through, or did you go in knowing that everyone was going to die in this movie?
I had a feeling that everyone on the planet was going to die. At least it wasn't going to be because there was no in episode 4. There's not really a continuation of characters they had from here to there, right?
Correct.
So I kind of had a feeling that most, if not all, were probably going to die.
So I thought one of them was going to make it through because when they said like the way the opening crawl on episode 4 talks about is that like a group of people stole the planet. So I thought like at least one soldier made it out to give the plans, and so that guy's probably like retired or sitting behind a desk somewhere now. So that's how I pictured it. I didn't realize like wow, like everyone, all these people that we kind of grew to know over the movie is toast.
Gone.
Like every single one of them, not a single survivor. Yeah. And then the only people that we know are like Admiral Akbar, people who are in space or whatever.
Yeah.
But like gone. Like just so I liked it. Again, Star Wars, like anyone can die. Like I like that aspect. Like you want to root for your hero, but you have to have that expectation of like, oh my gosh, the hero's about to die. At the back of your head, you always think, oh, the hero always wins, they're gonna make it out of it. But this like no, like they could actually die. Yeah. That makes it more
realistic.
Yeah, and you're more what's the word, like not drawn into the movie, but you're more like
having an attachment to it, to it. Yeah.
You're not. It's not going to be like, oh, I know what's going to happen. It's not predictable.
Yeah,
so it's unpredictability. Like
more immersive.
Walking Dead has the same kind of thing. Any hero could die.
Yeah. You
You
can go
never know
attach to
each
someone.
episode.
Game
You're
of
like,
Thrones
"Oh, I love
started
this
off
person,
that way.
Game of
Very well
Thrones."
done.
Exactly. So that draws the audience into saying,
We'll talk about the end.
well, it could happen at any time.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
So it was
How much time do we
cool.
have
Try
here?
to ignore the Game of
So
Thrones.
yeah, so the planet blows up. The rest of our stars are gone, and then we kind of focus up on the ship. So now they're like, "Hey, we got the plans. We gotta go."
Yeah.
So we have the one robot that gets the plans. Okay, let's go. We gotta get it to our people because this is on like the main. We'll call it big command
Carrier,
shuttle
so, yeah.
carrier, whatever.
Yeah.
And so he's running it down. And so all we hear is as they're kind of getting their message, the lights kind of go off, and then you hear the Darth Vader breathing.
Well, even before that, they're about to take off, and then all the Star Destroyers kind of show up don't they come out of hyperspace?
Oh yeah, everyone's
There's a whole bunch
attacking.
of just
Everyone's
kind of
going
all of a
nuts.
sudden come before and then getting attacked.
But
And
like
Vader's
on the
not
ship,
ships.
we're like
Yeah.
there and we're like, what's going on? And
yeah.
we didn't expect it, but Vader shows up, and what a way to show up! We
Yeah.
hear the breathing,
And then
we hear the fear of the rebels. They turn around, the lightsaber turns
That
on,
was
and
awesome.
that's the light.
Complete dark, yeah.
You're just getting the light of the lights of the red
Yeah.
in that room, and it was like perfect thing. The color of red of like death, of like fire, of like anger and scary, and just everything that's going on in that room, and the terrified workers, and they're shooting, and the way that they showed Darth Vader is the way that I pictured him, and I remembered him in the prequels. This guy who's just like eviscerating everybody, using force powers. And when you watch the prequels, the original trilogy now, you're like, oh, he just kind of batted around a couple times, and it wasn't. You pictured it more in your head than what it was, but here you get to see what you expected Darth Vader to be. Just this character with so much power, terrifying, coming out, just ripping through people,
He takes
freezing
all their
bullets, takes the
guns.
guns.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Throws
picks the guy
one
up,
up.
throws the lights. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
just absolute fear. But
Gets it all.
what an amazing 5 minutes like that end moment was.
Mhm.
And they're terrified, and they're running,
want to see
running,
more.
and they're trying to get the plans out, and the doors aren't opening. So you have the one guy at the end. He's like, "Go, take it, go." The guy grabs it, and then he just gets stabbed
Yeah.
right through the door and just dead. And so they're running as fast as they can, and so they eventually, that door is essentially getting it through. That's the Tantive 4. That's Leia's ship.
Yeah.
They're just squeezing it through as they go, hit the button and detach and try to get away.
Yeah.
And the rest of the soldiers are just dead.
Yeah.
And Darth Vader's there, and I'm like, wow, that was such a cool moment, unexpected, but absolutely, I thought was just, icing on the cake.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. And leads you into the next movie, episode 4, and gets you us like, okay, so this is how it
Absolutely.
It's
picks
like a
up.
seamless transition.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
just, you can literally end this movie and start right into the next one.
Yeah.
And it's just a continuation.
Yeah.
Which is
So that
fantastic.
was Radis' ship, if I remember, because he doesn't make it out. So we got Akbar who takes off, and a few of the other people who kind of get out, and then Leia's ship is trying to get out of there, and we see her getting shot at, and it basically you get to see on the inside of the ship as the plans kind of make it through into her room, and we have Leia in the background, and they're like, "Oh, we have something for you." And I can't remember the line. I can't remember the line. They said, "We have something for you," and they're like, "What is it?" And she says something like, "It's hope." Right, and then she turns around and we got the Carrie face,
New Hope
Carrie
or something.
Fisher,
Yeah.
a New Hope face on there, which I have to applaud them. They did an okay job at it. I'm not gonna say it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was okay. It looked like her. You could tell it was plastered on. I thought they did a much better job with Tarkin.
Tarkin?
The first time you see him with the reflection in the glass, I was like, wow, that's awesome. Then once he turns around and starts talking, like, oh man, this is CG. And I was disappointed. I'm like, if they just only had him from back shots and reflection shots, would have been perfect. Because the reflection already is a little blurry. That would have been perfect. But when you see them and how much dialogue he got, it wasn't as good as it could have been CG, but I applaud them. They did a good job. Wasn't great. It was a good job.
I mean, it was good enough for people that don't know that he's passed away. It can be like, maybe he's aged not so well or whatever, and it looks a little bit different. But I thought they did a pretty good job on it.
Yeah, I didn't mind the job they did on it, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was great. And then we have the line like, it's hope, and then bam, it ends. And then we know that the next movie starts with that exact thing on that ship, and then Darth Vader catches up to them and it continues. And I'm like, I love how everything was just tied so neatly. I didn't hate some of the way how they got everything together. I like that, like running away, getting the plans, like literally for your life. Your people died to give you the plans, which
And
is
the
literally
fear in
so
their
many
face
people
and
died.
stuff. Yeah.
It was great. And then like Leia, oh yeah, I'm just on a Republic mission. Like you just came from battle. Clearly not, but it was great.
Trying to play dumb.
Yeah,
I thought it was the wrong ship.
I thought Gary Whitta, the writer of this particular movie, did a phenomenal job. Man, I mean, let's dissect. I mean, what characters you want to talk, dialogue. There's a lot of stuff we missed. A lot of jokes between Chirrut and K2SO had a lot of lines.
So they had like so was it Chirrut and Bathe?
Mm-hmm.
So they were kind of one that had lines back and forth that were kind of funny, but you could see that relationship together.
Especially in the jail with Cassian, and they kind of explain like who are you, where you're from, and we're the Guardians of the Whales and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. And funny enough, a lot of people have been like kind of theorizing that they might be like the first Star Wars kind of couple.
Same-sex couple. I don't agree with that personally.
And the director is like, oh, I'm just going to play into this and be like, no, maybe.
Yeah, take of it what you will.
Yeah.
I personally didn't see, a lot of people seem like the way that he died and came in, he's crying, he has him in his arms. I'm like, I'm sorry. He was his mentor. He was his mentor. He was his guardian. His job was, your job is to protect the Guardians of the World. He's the last one alive. Your job is not to do anything except protect him. So all his life, that's all he's known to do. They're like best friends, best buds.
Yeah,
that's all I saw
all
it
the
as.
time, just
I didn't see any romantic relationship. Yeah. He's blind. They've been together for so long. They have this love-hate relationship. But I mean, there are a lot of friends that I know that if my friend died, I'd be drawn to tears. It doesn't mean that I love the guy.
Yeah.
Like in that way anyway.
Yeah.
So I personally don't agree with that statement. I mean, again, Gareth Edwards said, sorry, was it Gareth Edwards? No, I can't remember who it was now. The director. The person that did the movie, I'll have to look it up again.
Yeah.
He had said that, no, it's not, it's take it as what you will. If you want him to be gay, you can call him gay. If you want him to be straight, you can call him straight. I didn't see any indication, any long glancing looks between them, any romantic gestures, holding hands. I didn't see anything that would make me feel, oh yeah, this is a love-hate relationship. To me, this was just best friends, like brothers. Like that's how I saw it, but that was me.
Yeah, I agree. But I just thought it was funny that people tried to...
Oh man, there's always...
to put that theory up there.
Always.
But so they had a great dynamic together. And then K2 and...
Cassian?
No.
Jin
Erso. They kind of had that love-hate... Well, why she get a gun? I'm not allowed to get a gun. And then like all these little jabs that... I don't want to accidentally get your head shot off. You're a big target kind of thing.
What about like the odds of success is like, don't say it.
Yeah.
They're high. They're very high. I'm like, that's so great. Like, what a new spin of doing the same joke, but like just great.
And another one wherever she shoots one of the K2 models, and then
Did you know that wasn't me?
Did you know that wasn't me?
Yes, that was great too. Yes, I did.
Yes, I did.
That was awesome. Just
So he had that nice comic relief feature to him. Not the same as L3 from Solo, the Solo movie.
Different personality.
Exactly. This was more
similar
like,
sarcasm, but
I'm going to use math and analytics to tell you the truth.
He was more closer to a sarcastic 3PO.
Yes.
And she was more of just...
Though, right? Like he's just blunt and you say whatever.
Exactly.
Like a Sheldon on Big Bang. Like just like, I don't understand the concept of emotion. He's a droid to the fullest core. I don't understand emotion, and I don't care to need. I don't need to.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say because I'm gonna do it, and it is what it like. And there's no like, you don't hear him laugh. I'm just like, I'm gonna say this fact, and as monotone and as straightforward as, and that's what makes it so funny.
Yeah,
it's great.
So I love that character added to this movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was well done. It wasn't overdone either, which was nice. So they weren't like pushing it to try and be like, oh, we need more comedy or we need more of this. So yeah, I really like that dynamic. So they kind of had a couple, groups of dynamics that really worked well.
Yeah, we'll get more of him as well in the future. K2.
Well, we know that there is a show officially announced with K2SO and Cassian, a prequel of sorts, and I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's going to be like a road trip movie, buddy cop kind of boom boom. They're gonna go on missions, and it's just gonna be how he first meets him and reprograms him, and then
maybe
away we go. But I'm excited. I think that's gonna be hilarious. Tudyk is great.
I love Alan Tudyk. Yeah,
and because he's a droid. Oh, actually, no, the planet blew up. I was gonna say he died. They can repair him, but the whole planet blew up. No one's getting back there, so no, he's gone. He's gone. That's unfortunate. I would have been great for somehow to be like, oh yeah, if it was not a total planet destruction, but like just the base blew up and like, oh, we got parts and rebuilt them. No, that planet's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, but he was well done, and I'm looking forward to him in the prequel show as well. So that'll be good.
Yeah. So the director was Gareth Edwards on this one. So,
but like they had a good amount of action. The graphics for CGI's were good. Like the fights, having the planes sneak in when the shield was down for a little bit.
Yeah. What about the pilots of like Rogue One, Set of My Red One, whatever? And it was like, oh, they got some of the faces from like A New Hope. Like they got some of like Biggs and Wedge and like some of those guys. I'm like, that's cool. Like I thought they did a good job of that.
Yeah, they did a very good job of kind of bringing in little bits of the
enough. You didn't have to overdo it.
Exactly.
They did just the right amount. Like I said, sprinkling. They could have did a lot more Darth Vader.
Oh, of course.
They didn't need to.
Yeah.
That was like as little as we got. I was like,
It's effective.
I remember that scene. Like that was, I just felt like it was,
yeah,
so
sometimes less
impactful.
is more, right?
That's it.
Yeah,
that's exactly
absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
The story wasn't about Darth Vader. It was about this. It wasn't about Jedi. They did talk about, you know, the temple and getting the crystals, and that's what powers the Death Star, which makes it powerful. It all makes sense.
Which I thought was cool.
It was necessary to the story, exactly, but they didn't go crazy with what, trying to make it something else.
Yeah,
absolutely. We had a little bit of Force with Chirrut and stuff, and like was using the Force, was using the Force, and whatever. I totally believe. Yep, he was. He wasn't trained in how to use it. It's one of those, you know, back to my midichlorian. Like he has talent, he has an attunity to it, but he's not trained, so he can kind of use it, but not to the great effect of a fully trained Jedi. Yeah. I thought it was great, well done. And then the Darth Vader stuff again, a little bit here, a little bit there. Yeah. Bam, great.
Yeah, I also thought they did it. Oh, sorry. Go. I thought they did a great job of these new characters that you just got introduced to, from beginning to end, of having that emotional attachment to them.
Giving you enough to get attached.
And feeling exactly, and be like, oh my god, like at the very end when they die, like, oh man, like they sacrificed themselves.
All these people, like,
for this, and like, they just accepted it, and they, you know, the impact that had.
Yeah, because in the movies you're just like, oh, so, you know, maybe a team of 6 went in, and you know, 1 or 2 got out, and then they got the plans. But you see how big it was, and how everyone was willing to sacrifice, even that Corvette. You know how they went into the Star Destroyer, into the next. They were stuck in there. They weren't coming back. No, they went down with the 2 Star Destroyers, so you could see the commitment of people willing to sacrifice themselves,
do it
for the greater good,
what they need to do. So it showed how big it was just to get the plans to go to the next stage.
And also the relationship between Jin and Galen as well. Like as little as you saw Galen when he was on the bridge and them talking for the last time, like, oh man, like that's impactful. Like just shows how much, I think the actor did a great job of portraying.
Felt believable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everything about this movie felt realistic and believable.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, something, especially for a standalone, I thought was an accomplishment.
And this being the first one, it made me say, you know, I'm okay with them doing more of these type of standalones or background or, you know, filler in between things just to give you more information. If they can do it like this, they're doing it right. They're not just making movies to make the money, to get it out, you know, every year, the box office, merchandise, all this stuff, which is just an added bonus for this. But, you know, it actually adds to the lore and stories.
Absolutely. So, I mean, overall, it was a great film.
Yeah.
I think that having these writers, proper writers for the movie, made a big difference. Gary Whitta, phenomenal writer.
Yeah.
And you know, all props to him for working in. He worked with a team as well, but I mean, like he was like the head guy who wrote the script and the dialogue, the word choices. Overall, great job. Like phenomenal. Like I wish they'd bring him in to do more. You know,
definitely. He definitely knows the feeling of the Star Wars universe and like
big Star Wars fan. Yeah. So that worked as well.
And it showed.
Yeah. So, you know, we don't really go over small aspects. So plot, I think we all agree, is solid plot.
Yep.
No plot holes. Everything made sense. It made other stories even better.
Added to the whole experience and stories. Of rewatching it, because I watched all of it in chronological order again. And seeing this and then watching the next movie, I was like, oh, this just definitely goes smoothly right into transitions smoothly into the next movie. And you're like, okay, this fills little holes enough that it just adds to the experience.
And what about the script? Dialogue and
I thought the script was very well done. There was no, I mean, there might be a corny one that you didn't like.
That's the only. Just the word choices. That's the only thing. Like the whole choking thing was awesome, and even if he says something, just something else, maybe I don't know. I don't know what exactly.
I personally didn't mind, but I thought compared to all the,
it didn't bother me a lot. Like there's some other ones that were corny that like in episode 3. Like that one really bothered me. With this one, I was just like, it wasn't terrible, but I'm like, maybe something a little different.
But like I thought there was nothing that they used what they need to use dialogue wise, and it was very well written.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah,
great job there. I thought it was very smart choices from bringing James Earl Jones to the voice of Vader.
You have to.
Right?
If you're going to bring Vader in,
but they could have like used like old lines and then got like a computer to kind of synthesize other words. And no, they're like, no, we're gonna get the actor, and you could tell like his voice, he was older. Yeah. Like when he's speaking as Darth Vader, he did sound older than he did in Thing. But it still was powerful. It still was like that scary, that like, ooh, this is Darth Vader talking. Like,
if I was James Earl Jones, I wouldn't want anyone else to do the voice. This is my baby.
That's
my character. Everyone knows me for that. That's my voice.
Have him record 17 scripts randomly in the event that you decide to bring Vader back in another movie, and then you have him sing like every letter of the alphabet, so you can put it together in his voice. That's it. So Yeah, that was great. Villain. So I think we're gonna go with Krennic as the main villain, even though we know Vader was in it and we know Tarkin was in it. But I think clearly the villain of this movie, you would say without a doubt, would be Krennic.
Yeah.
So
I do like that you got to see a little bit of background on Tarkin as well, because you see him in episode 4 before the stuff that happens there. But you get to see where he's still trying to climb the rings as well. Because he's not quite where he was in episode 4, where he's like the Grandmaster or Grand Moff. But it was like, I'm going to take credit for this because I still need to climb the ladder a bit and show good favor in the Emperor, and then
I want to speak to the Emperor, and you're the one who can get me to speak to him. He's like, who do you think you are? It's good
exactly.
Job. Okay, and then I guess the cast overall, the heroes and whatnot. I mean, as a team, it was no one individual hero. I mean, it was Jin's story, I guess. It was her and her relationship with her father and stuff. But the whole Rogue One squad,
they were all
did great. They all drew us in. We cared for all of them. Yeah. I know for me, I definitely teared up at certain moments. I was like, oh, like K2SO really hit me. He was a freaking droid. He wasn't even human, but he just sold me. I cared about that droid. And I was like, no, man. Like as he was evil, he was reprogrammed. He's like snarky. He's kind of the guy you want to give like a backhand sometimes. But no, I'm like, I didn't want him to die. I wanted him to live. Yeah. And the way he died, like sacrificing himself.
Ultimate sacrifice. Like everyone else, he was willing to sacrifice himself.
And you see early in the movie where Jin like gives him like a bag or something like that, and he's just like I ain't carrying your stuff. It's drops. Like, who do you think I am? And so you think of him with that attitude, and you think that this guy would he doesn't care. He's like, they make a comment about like them being blasted into space. And he says, well, I'd survive. You would all die, but I would survive because I'm a droid. Like, he doesn't give a care about anyone else, but yet he still sacrificed. Like, that was so cool. I thought that was really smart. Cassian, Jin, great job. Again, getting to see like a darker rebel, and even the start of the rebellion from like the rebels that we know them in the trilogy is like the guys that will do whatever it takes. It doesn't care even if it's one person. The odds are always against them, the underdog, and they're gonna come up and win and do their best. Whereas in this was more like an army faction, where they were just like, let's think about this. Is this gonna be to our benefit? No, let's not do it. They don't care about what's good and bad. It's what's what's going to give us the least amount of casualties, what's going to be better strategic. And I was like, that's not the rebels we know. And this kind of like, no, this is where you came from. And boom, it kind of boosted us to where we're supposed to be. It was cool. All right. So with that, I guess we're going to get into the ranking. But before we do that, again, just with any final thoughts overall, we all like the movie. Is there anything specific you want to bring into that before we decide on a ranking?
I love that they decided to do so many little Easter eggs to bring in multiple different rebels, prequels, the original trilogy, all those kind of little tidbits here and there, just to bring it all together, so that it showed it is a standalone, could be a standalone, but it also is very a part of the whole universe in every aspect, which was nice. It wasn't overdone, which was good.
I like that. It was different, but also that had that familiarity, right? Like
it did.
It was different, but it was kind of the same. But it was just I really enjoyed it. What else can I say? I thought they did a different job, but had high hopes for it, and it definitely succeeded with that.
Yep, absolutely. So I agree. The movie was great. I thought the plot was great. Everything was good. Everything was smart. Everything tied up well. I didn't have any particular aspect I didn't like. The thing that I liked the most about it, the Jedi, the Force, the lightsaber battles wasn't in there. But what we got was great. And that was, even though as little as it was, I still came out with like, wow, that was an awesome movie. So absolutely loved the movie. So
and even though you knew for the most part what was going to happen at the end of the movie, I mean, I figured going in that they were all going to die. It would have been nice to see maybe one sneak out, but even though you knew what was happening, they kept you, they kind of is there a little bit of a hope? Is there?
Yes.
So
they kept hope being a big thing in this movie of like, will they or won't they? Odds are stacked against them. Are they going to make it out? People are dying.
They're just sneaking out or whatnot. So it was good.
The ending with like, it's hope. It's what it is. This whole thing, this whole planet, this little light is like our chance. I'm like, that's so cool. That was cool. All right, so now we're gonna get to our ranking. So we're gonna rank all the movies by majority vote. So this is not any individual one of our absolute top favorite movies. We're gonna go by majority vote overall. So with that being said, I'll read our rankings as is right now. So we have at 4th place, we have episode 1, The Phantom Menace. We have at at rank 3, episode 2, Attack of the Clones. We have at rank 2, Solo, A Star Wars Story. And at 1st place right now is episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So with this movie, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, I'm pretty sure where we're going to reside, but let's just go. Is this better than episode 1, The Phantom Menace? Show of hands?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yes.
Is this episode then better than episode 2, Attack of the Clones? Show of hands. Absolutely. Is this better than Solo, A Star Wars Story? Show of hands.
Yes.
I agree. Is it better than episode 3, Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
Yes. So unanimous. This definitely so far
spot.
has taken the top spot. So we're gonna put that in here as Rogue One, Star Wars Story, and as we have it now, folks. Number 1 is Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Number 2 is episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. In 3rd place, Solo, A Star Wars Story. In 4th place, episode 2, Attack of the Clones. And in 5th place, episode 1, The Phantom Menace. With that, what do you think, fans? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? What was your favorite part of Rogue One, A Star Wars Story? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you if you agree or completely disagree with our reasoning and what we liked and didn't like about the movie. If you'd like to reach out to us with future movie reviews or other topics you'd like us to cover, you can send us an email at nerdstalkinfo@gmail.com. If you'd like to keep abreast of what we've got going on and our plans for the future, you can reach us on social media at Twitter and Instagram at TalkNerds, or on Facebook at facebook.com/NerdsTalkCanada.
Also, put your list down on the comments to see where you're at. We'd love to see how everyone's ranking is compared to ours.
Absolutely. And we always stay in touch. You'll probably see us reach out and comment back when you guys post some stuff below. But as always, friends, stay nerdy.